going on, guys? My name is Brian and I'm a 3D animator. Today we're going to be talking about the ups and downs of an industry like ours, the 3D animation industry. The point of this video isn't to really scare you, it's not to drive you away, it's just to shed some light on some things to expect. So if you're an upcoming student, if you're just in animation school or thinking of applying to animation school or starting your first job, this is a video to kind of inform you of what you might be getting yourself into, the good and the bad. And if you're already in the industry, you can share some of your experiences down below. Who doesn't like some sweet, sweet tea? Let's get into it. There's a lot of positives with being an animator. You meet some amazing people. All your coworkers are probably geeks like you. You work on amazing projects, and of course there's the clout. And this is usually what people think about when they think of working in the animation industry, how they view the career, especially outsiders or people that aren't in the industry and aren't veteran artists. That's usually how they kind of view animation and being in animation. Now, the part that's not too talked about, it is known within people that work, it's that animation 9 out of 10 times won't be a 9 to 5. So if you're looking for a 9 to 5 where you can plan your day and do other stuff after work, it's probably, you're not gonna find that in animation. Most likely, it'll be a 9 to 9. There are these things called crunch time in the animation industry, is when a project is wrapping up. And so the last month, maybe two, maybe a couple months before the end of the project, you're in there like 12 plus hours a day trying to finish up the project before the deadline. This can last from weeks to months, and in some cases, which I've experienced, it could last up to a year. So that's a year of crunch time. So that's 12 plus hours of working every single day animating. And if you know animation, it's not just like punching in some numbers, it's not some clicking some buttons, it's like a very creative and technically advanced work where it leaves your brain juices completely empty by the time you're done after an 8-hour work, let alone a 12-hour work. So you're completely juiced out by the end of the day and you can't really like mentally comprehend anything. Now, it's hard enough to have a family and a full-time job, but I can't imagine having a family and having to work in the animation industry, working 12-hour days. Like, I'm not sure how you can, you need to be amazing at time management to manage family, life, and work if you're working 12 plus hours a day. It's like time management has to be one of your most essential skills. And this is you kind of see this in the industry. Most of the animators I've met, most of the studios I've been to, the majority of animators are in their 20s or in their 30s. Very rarely you see a non-lead or supervisor animator being in their 40s. Like, of course it's fine. Of course, you see it occasionally, and there's nothing wrong with that. But from what I understand, from what I hear from some of the more veteran, or some of the people who are a little bit more veteran in the scene, is when you get to that age, your priorities kind of shift. And so I've heard that a lot of people actually switch careers a little bit later on in life. They switch careers to something a little bit more stable, or maybe even go into teaching or something like that, but they don't stay in animation unless they're very, very dedicated. Again, I'm not saying this to scare you guys, though it is scary, but rather for you to mentally prepare yourself for what you're getting yourself into. Animation isn't gonna make you rich in most cases. You'll have, it's a decently paid in most areas, so you'll be able to afford most of your needs. But the thing is, if you're going into animation to be rich, it's not gonna work out for you. I'm telling you right now. But the only thing that's kind of left is your passion for the art, the projects that you'll be working on, and the friends you're gonna be making along the way. That's kind of what's gonna keep you going once you're in those crunch times. That's what's gonna help you survive those crunch times. Is if you're working on an amazing project, that's gonna make you want to keep going. If you're working with friends, or you've made friends in the studio and they're going through the same things as you, misery loves company. That's gonna, and not the company, just company. That's gonna keep you going. And unless you're a robot, you're going to burn out. Now, in the project that I mentioned earlier, where it was a year of crunch time, me and a lot of animators went through multiple burnouts. Like, it wasn't just one burnout, it was multiple burnouts, one after the other, throughout that entire year. And most people tell you, oh, just take a break, go outside, eat a banana or something. But at the end of the day, you have deadlines up to your neck and you feel like you're suffocating and you just want to get back and get your shots done and, you know, get it out of the way. But the thing is, when you do that, when you do finish everything finally and get it out of the way, there's another mountain for you to climb. And then once you finish that, there's another mountain for you to climb, and it just keeps on going. And that's just gonna make you burn out over and over and over again. And so you really have to be mentally prepared for that kind of thing. And that's easier said than done, obviously. Again, it kind of brings you back to the core of why you wanted to be an animator. When you're in that situation, when you're in that like multiple burnout situation, you come back to the essence of why you became an animator in the first place. So when I first started working in animation, like every young idiot, I wanted clout. I was chasing clout. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna work on this project, I'm gonna work on that project. I wanted my name on all the cool stuff I was seeing on TV. And you know, going through those moments that I talked about previously, those multiple burnouts, it made me realize that's not what I want. You know, that maybe that's not for me. So that kind of shifted my priority, maybe even earlier than some other people. You know, I'm not in my 30s even, or let alone 40s, but I've shifted my priority to wanting to have you know, a lot of room for internal growth and have a voice, and most importantly of all, have a work-life balance. So that became priority for me. So my career kind of got like shaped down to the core of what I want from it, and it became that. It became those three things. And so having the ability to get off work on time and work on other projects that I'm very passionate about, be here for you boyos, and that's more important to me than, you know, the clout I would get working on like crazy big box productions. I might go back at some point eventually, but as of right now, I am very happy where I am, and I think I'm gonna stay here for a little bit. So my final remarks will be focus on time management and prioritize your mental health. Again, easier said than done, but at the end of the day, crazy deadlines are still going to be crazy even if you take that extra hour of break or not. So try and space it out. Obviously, it's hard to focus when you have crazy deadlines due, but try and separate it to, you know, work a few hours, then take a break. Work a few hours, take a break. That'll help you a little bit. Obviously, it won't, you know, negate the suffocating effects of crazy deadlines, but it'll make it a little bit more bearable. If you're really suffering and you know ahead of time that you can't finish a shot, again, keyword here, ahead of time, let your lead or supervisor know, and what they'll do is just they'll reassign it to someone who has, you know, less work than you, or someone who can get it done on time, and that doesn't really reflect on you in any sort of negative way. That doesn't mean you suck, that doesn't mean you're slow, that's something that just happens all the time. You know, that's like your lead's job is to assign shots, and that's just, you know, that's just your lead's job, and that's what he has to do. He's like, oh, okay, let me just take this and give it to someone else. And chances are down the line, you'll probably be animating a shot for someone else that couldn't finish either. And, you know, that's just how the industry works. That's just how animation works. Now, you have to also realize that deadlines are almost always management, and handing in quality shots is what your lead and supervisor actually care about. They rather you hand in one quality shot versus two, you know, just passable or two, you know, not so great looking shots. So again, at the end of the day, lead and supervisor are artists, you know, and their focus is on how good the shot is, not how fast you can get it done. So keep that in mind. When you start out in the industry, in the animation industry, a lot of young artists kind of work themselves to death and burn themselves out very quickly. But when you talk to the more veteran, more experienced animators, more experienced artists, what they'll tell you almost always is to prioritize your health over work. You should work to live, not live to work. Just think about that for a little bit. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to make this video. I even took out a few paragraphs, but you know, it's out. I hope what I said hasn't driven you away from the industry. I hope it rather helps you mentally prepare for what you're getting yourself into. Now, with all that out of the way, happy animating, and I will see you guys in the next video.